All right, man. Welcome back to the Biblical Blueprint. It's your boy Raylo. And yeah, man, you already know what we doing. We're going chapter by chapter, verse by verse through the Bible to show you that this is the greatest book for life and in business. So let's get to it. All right, we're in Genesis chapter 14. I like this chapter. This is one of them exciting Bible chapters, and of course, we're gonna have a different name for it, but I always like to call this Abram, the world's first action hero. You know what I'm saying? So like, let's get down to it, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna hold you all long. Let's go ahead and just get straight into it. Let's get straight into the chapter. All right, chapter 14 of Genesis.
Genesis 14:124 ERV. Amraphel was the king of Babylonia, Arioch was the king of Elasar, Kedorlaomer was the king of Elam, and Tidal was the king of Goiim. All these kings fought a war against King Bera of Sodom, King Bersha of Gomorrah, King Shinab of Admah, King Shemeber of Zeboim, and the king of Bela. Bela is also called Zoar. All these kings joined their armies in the Valley of Siddim. The Valley of Siddim is now the Salt Sea. These kings had served Kedorlaomer for 12 years, but in the 13th year, they all rebelled against him. So in the 14th year, King Kedorlaomer and the kings with him came to fight against them. Kedorlaomer and the kings with him defeated the Rephates in Ashtaroth Karnim. They also defeated the Zuzites in Ham. They defeated the Amites in Shaveh Kiriathaim, and they defeated the Horites who lived in the area from the hill country of Seir to El Paran. El Paran is near the desert. Then King Kedorlaomer turned back, went to En Mishpat, that is Kadesh, and defeated the Amalekites. He also defeated the Amorites living in Hazezon Tamar. At that time the kings of Sodom, Gomorrah, Admah, Zeboim, and Bela, Zoar, joined together to fight against their enemies in the Valley of Siddim. They fought against King Kedorlaomer of Elam, King Tidal of Goiim, King Amraphel of Babylonia, and King Arioch of Elasar. So there were 4 kings fighting against 5. There were many holes filled with tar in the Valley of Siddim. When the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah and their armies ran away, some of the soldiers fell into these holes, but the others ran away to the mountains. So Kedorlaomer and his armies took everything that the people of Sodom and Gomorrah owned. They took all their food and clothing and left. Lot, the son of Abram's brother, was living in Sodom, and they captured him. They also took everything he owned and left. One of the men who had escaped went to Abram the Hebrew and told him what happened. Abram was camped near the trees of Mamre the Amorite. Mamre, Eshcol, and Aner had made an agreement to help each other, and they had also signed an agreement to help Abram. When Abram learned that Lot was captured, he called all of his family together. There were 318 trained soldiers. He led the men and chased the enemy all the way to the town of Dan. That night, he and his men made a surprise attack against the enemy. They defeated them and chased them to Hobah, north of Damascus. Then Abram brought back everything the enemy had stolen, as well as the women and servants, his nephew Lot, and everything Lot owned. Then Abram went home after he defeated Kedorlaomer and the kings with him. On his way home, the king of Sodom went out to meet him in the valley of Shaveh. This is now called King's Valley. Melchizedek, the king of Salem and a priest of God Most High, also went to meet Abram. He brought bread and wine. He blessed Abram and said, "Abram, may you be blessed by God Most High, the one who made heaven and earth. And we praise God Most High, who helped you defeat your enemies." Abram gave Melchizedek 1/10 of everything he had taken during the battle. Then the king of Sodom told Abram, "Give me my people who were captured, but you can keep everything else." But Abram said to the king of Sodom, "I promise to the Lord, the God Most High, the one who made heaven and earth. I promise that I will not keep anything that is yours." Not even a thread or a sandal strap. I don't want you to say, I made Abram rich. The only thing I will accept is the food that my young men have eaten, but you should give the other men their share. Take what we won in battle and give some to Aner, Eshcol, and Mamre. These men helped me in the battle. Genesis 14:1-24 ERV.
Okay. So, going through chapter 14, and of course you're seeing that power is rising. You know what I'm saying? The kings is going against each other. Kings that used to serve another king, they started winning battles, and it was like, you know what, we're going to take over, decide to take over. And pretty much you got a clash between 4 and 5 kings on opposite sides of each other. They clicked up and they fighting each other. You know what I'm saying? During the fight, they have an innocent bystander, which happens to be Lot. Lot has nothing to do with nothing, but he becomes an innocent bystander because we talked about this in one of the last chapter. Go back and check out, because remember, we're going chapter by chapter, verse by verse. In the last chapter, we saw that Abram went left, Lot went right. They decided to split up. He decides to split up, and he ends up near, I believe, Sodom. You know, in the valley where Sodom and Gomorrah is, right? So during this war, 4 of the kings is fighting 5 of the kings, where they going up against Sodom and Gomorrah. And the kings that are going up against the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah get the upper hand. The warriors of Sodom and Gomorrah dip out. They leave the people there, and Lot is just helpless and defenseless, and he's end up getting captured. So when he gets captured, you know what I'm saying, these people took everything. They took everything these people owned. They took all the food. They took everything, and the people. They took everything, right? Somebody escapes, and they go and get Abram. And you already know what's going down. They done got Lot. That's exactly what it is. They got Lot. And Abram, instead of just, you know what I'm saying, in a situation like that, that sounds like something you should be helpless against, right? You know what I'm saying? The kingdoms is fighting, and they got your nephew. You know what I'm saying? We in ancient times. What you gonna do? Well, we know what Abram did. He wasn't having it. He stood on business. He went, and he already had trained soldiers within his rank, where he was like, look, we about to go get Lot. Fast forward, Abram goes and gets the blessing from Melchizedek. He's a king. He's also a priest of the Most High, right? And he gives him a blessing that God is going to bless you. He's going to protect you during this battle. And he does. And Abram went, and he just went in attack mode. He did a sneak attack, and he got everybody back. He got Lot back. He got all the people back. He got all their money back. He got all their food back, and he took their stuff just for playing games with us. And at the end of the story, you see this king of Sodom come. It was like, thank you so much. You know what I'm saying? You can keep all the stuff. And Abram, surprisingly, was like, I don't want your stuff. I don't want you ever telling me I don't want none of your stuff. You know what I'm saying? I gotta turn this off. I didn't know that it was gonna keep ringing. People are gonna be asking me stuff while I'm doing this. But hey, that's what happens with the devil. It's just interrupts you when you're doing God's work, but it don't matter. So yeah, it's just not it. He doesn't take the money, right? And it's kind of interesting because he's like, I'm not going to let you be able to tell people that you made Abraham rich. You know what I'm saying? Abram rich. You know what I'm saying? Because he knows it's corrupted money. And it's it's a very, very great story because it shows a lot about compromise and and compromising yourself with corrupted people, pretty much. You know, I feel like in life, for me personally, why I haven't hit certain strides of success is because I haven't got to a place like Abram. You know what I'm saying? Like Abram is literally a boss in this situation. He got men up under him that's ready to go when he says it's time to go, and it's a beautiful thing, and it shows you to where it's just like when you are in a boss position, you got to make boss moves. All money ain't good money, and we kind of see that with Abram. You know what I'm saying? Um, and then also, you know, he does go to a priest, but Abram is a priest in his own right. Abram is a person where, he is following the way that has been given to him. He's always in contact with God. God is always giving him messages, always showing him that he has protection. All Abram has to do is just walk out on faith. And that's pretty much what happens. You know what I'm saying? It's like a lot of themes with this situation. You know what I'm saying? You're seeing where authority comes from God. God gave him the authority, and you see what happened. He beat up the government. He beat up the kings, pretty much. You know what I'm saying? And God honors the people who protects their family. You know what I'm saying? The one who risks everything for his blood. You know what I'm saying? You're also seeing where, it's a divine strategy with this, right? It's a reason why this is coming to us still 2,000 years later. You know what I'm saying? Where you're finding out that when you have the power of the true God behind you, the true God Yahuwah, when you have that type of protection around you, it doesn't matter what comes against you. You'll be able to go through it, and you should just walk out on faith. You should walk out on supernatural faith. I mean, he only had 318 men, you know what I'm saying, against, 4 different kings? And you went and beat everybody up? You know what I'm saying? That's supernatural, isn't it? And you're just seeing where when you have that spiritual protection of God, you know what I'm saying, there's nothing that you cannot do. You know what I'm saying? We're seeing that faith isn't passive. You got to get active. You know what I'm saying? That's what happened. He got active, and he already had people that was trained for situations like this. I can understand being in the ancient world, you need to have people trained and have people ready when it was time to go, because it was a treacherous world. We just realized, in one of the past chapters, the Pharaoh tried to take Abram's wife. You know what I'm saying? So, and he already knew, man, if I didn't tell the Pharaoh that if I had told the Pharaoh this was my wife, he would have killed me. So, he learned something for that. Now he got them people with him, where it's just like nobody's about to bully Abram. You know what I'm saying? In this situation, especially when it comes to his nephew Lot. You know what I'm saying? I think one of the biggest things is just rejecting the deal. You know what I'm saying? Of course, they're the spoils of war. But the whole fact of not having the right people have a certain type of clout over you, like him telling the king, like, you're not about to be the one that's gonna be like, hey, you made Abram rich. That was the key right there. You know what I'm saying? You gotta know who you're dealing with, pretty much. Also, you see where Abram was blessed, he instantly went and gave a tithe. You know what I'm saying? He gave a tithe to the person who blessed him. And that's amazing right there. Melchizedek is a very interesting figure. You don't really learn a lot about Melchizedek except through this. And, a lot of people make theories or whatever, but I like to just go with what I read. And go on what I read, powerful person of God bless Abraham and then gets a tithe from Abraham where you see the first tithe. You know what I'm saying? You want to tithe those people, tithe to those who bless you. You know what I'm saying? Tithe to those who gave you the word of encouragement. You know what I'm saying? Not letting them feel left out. Those are the people that you want to give your I would say worldly praises to. You know what I'm saying? Instead of this king, just because you want to help them out, now he feels that he the one who made you rich. You know what I'm saying? You want to find people who are worthy. I would say worthy of the clout, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Where Melchizedek, he gave him the blessing. He prayed for Abram and went out there and he actually did it. So we're seeing how Abram walked, you know what I'm saying, through this world, you know what I'm saying? And we're seeing that nothing was able to stop Abram when it really came down to it. And if you want to get that type of unstoppable faith, go to raylo.tv and check out the program, The Miracle Blueprint. The Miracle Blueprint is a 40-day program where you will learn to be obedient and you'll see how God moves in your life. You know what I'm saying? This is all biblical. All comes from just biblical principles. And once you learn these biblical principles to see how God moves in your life, you will become unstoppable. You know what I'm saying? Go to raylo.tv, check out the Miracle Blueprint. Now, that's our life aspect of it. Let's get to the business of this whole thing, right? You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, nobody talks about Abram as a leader. We've had several leaders in this world. Most of the times we just talk about the kings, but we ain't talking about the person who beat up the kings. You feel me? So, you know what I'm saying, we're going to talk a lot about Abram. You know what I'm saying? One of the biggest things is that he did not accept the partnership that compromises his testimony. You know what I'm saying? Don't ever have anything compromise your testimony. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, having the wrong people around you who will compromise your testimony will kind of make your legacy almost like worthless. Like, why did you even connect with this person? You know what I'm saying? Man, the first person I that comes to mind, man, I hate using pop culture references, but it's just on my heart. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the guy Kanye West, right? Where he put a lot of people on, and a lot of people were blessed through him, but it always came back to burn them. You know, like, it's so strange. Like, it's like, there's people who come back that made millions with him that say he owes them money. There's always like a fallout with the people that he does business with, and it comes to a point where, at this point in time, if you stand by the guy and you fall out with him, I can't have sympathy for you because you've seen all the people he's fell out with. And it was something that was on my mind that was just like I thought about earlier, but it aligns with what we're learning in this biblical blueprint episode, is that you gotta watch who you're doing business with, and you know what I'm saying, because being attached to them could create, it could create riches. You know what I'm saying? Like, Abraham would have been rich if he would have took all the stuff from the king. But because he didn't, he was able to keep his integrity. You know what I'm saying? He was able to keep his legacy clean. You know what I'm saying? And from that, we see that, you know what I'm saying, I really look at Abram as a leader with the most integrity I've ever seen. You know what I'm saying? Another tie-in that we could kind of see is just the whole thing of tithing. You know what I'm saying? You want to give back, especially to those who give you the blessing. So with that being said, You know what I'm saying? You may be in church, you may not be in church. You know what I'm saying? But find a way to give, especially to the people who bless you or people who gave you encouragement. Find a way to bless them after they blessed you. You know, I think that's where we can kind of leave it at as far as tithing, because a lot of times, like, tithing is um, kind of like a muddy situation. You know what I'm saying? Of course, like, I believe in church, you know, and I believe that if you're going to church, you should tithe. But I also believe that, you know what I'm saying, you should have your own personal relationship with God. You know what I'm saying? If you have, because, and there's a lot of, I would say, pastors out there that are not right at this point in time. So you can kind of see it from their fruits. But if you do have like a pastor or somebody, a person of God that's in your life that is constantly blessing you or constantly praying for you and constantly in your corner, tithe to him. You know what I'm saying? Tithe to that person. You know what I'm saying? He was a priest of the Most High, you know, Melchizedek, but he also, which is a king also. And you see that Abram came and tithed to him, and that is one of the strongest parts of this story. You know what I'm saying? So find a way to tithe, find a way to give back to those who encourage you and give and bless you. You know, one of the applications that you can take from this chapter that you can add to your business is always be prepared and always be training. Don't react to a situation. Find a way to be proactive. You know what I'm saying? Being prepared for whatever may come. You know what I'm saying? Establish yourself also a system for honoring people and tithing. You know what I'm saying? Give back when the money floods in. You know what I'm saying? Audit your partnerships. Always see if this is going to be like a corrupted situation. I brought up a pop culture reference of Kanye West, right? But that's a perfect, perfect situation, because anybody who did business with him should have audited his whole everything that he had did. Why do business with somebody who constantly had outbursts and was constantly always outspoken and would just say things and would have to come back and apologize, and actually got to a point that never, you know, just refused to apologize. You know what I'm saying? We got also to a situation where he helped build people up, and then he'll talk bad about them. We even see him talk bad about people who are dead. You know what I'm saying? And not even here to defend themselves. Always do audits on people that you will possibly work with. See what type of person they are. See what they've done in the past, and don't just be taken back by the money that they may have. Always do your due diligence on the people that you're doing partnerships with. I am starting my executive community. You know, I want to help build up believers that want to go in business. I want to help you leverage the digital world. I want to help you make content to help push your business. I want you to be monetized. I want you to learn how to do tax write-offs. I want you to learn how to have proper LLCs. Go to raylo.tv, and if you want to sign up for my executive community, send your information in and I'll contact you and we'll start and get to work. That is my goal with this whole biblical blueprint, not only to help you with your life, but also help you with your business. I've consulted for a lot of people, and I want to help more people go into business and create more striving businesses biblically. You know what I'm saying? That's why we're sharing some of these business strategies that happened in the Bible, because at the end of the day, you know, history only repeats itself. And with that said, this is your boy Ray Lowe. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you, and I hope to see you in the next video.